I am 22 years old and have never had a girlfriend. It feels like most people have already had a girlfriend by the age of 22 years old. I've wondered why I haven't had one before. Not being in a relationship has naturally made me feel different from a lot of people. But let's dive into a few of the main reasons why I believe this has happened. For starters, I haven't felt ready to be in a relationship. I've always struggled with not even feeling worthy of one. If I'm not in my best place physically, mentally, and spiritually, I feel like I would be doing my partner a disservice. When I'm in a relationship with somebody, I want to be able to give them the whole world. I want to be physically strong, mentally tough, and firm in my faith. I want to be able to protect, care, and love them. It really sucks though, because I can't even do a lot of normal things right now, like lifting weights or playing sports, without being in so much pain. And it makes me view myself as so much lesser than others. It also lowers my confidence too. I've had to go through some extremely hard things in my life, so it makes it difficult to feel ready to commit to a relationship. It's not that I don't want to, but I don't want to let somebody down, especially due to things outside of my control. And I also just don't have a timeline. I don't know how long my tests and trials will last. It's tough to keep hoping, but I'm trying my best. I understand everybody's journey is different and there's different seasons of life for everyone. Seasons of sorrow, seasons of joy, even seasons of isolation. I don't want to be incapable of doing a ton of things. There is an aspect, I think, of realizing deep down that there'll never be a perfect time, but I'm really not even asking for a perfect time, but I just want to be good or even decent, it feels like. Not below average, or at least my perception of myself as being below average. It's funny because at the same time, while I do feel all of these things, I do feel like I would be a good partner. And what this ties into is my struggle with perfectionism. Perfectionism really is such a stressful thing, I cannot lie. Because instead of doing my best or doing excellent, I'd strive for perfection, which is unattainable. It's not possible to be perfect. The only one who's ever been perfect is Jesus Christ himself. I'm only human, so I'm going to make mistakes. It's expected. Perfectionism has affected me in a variety of ways. For example, trying to look perfect on the outside ultimately has hurt me. It's made me hide my inner self from those around me. When I switched schools in 8th grade, it really took a toll on me. I was afraid of being myself and opening up to the new people around me. And what's crazy is that this continued literally until I graduated high school. For 5 years, I felt like I'd put up a wall and a facade. I wasn't my true self because I didn't want to be disliked or rejected. In reality, it's better to be disliked by some people for who you are, but truly be yourself around those closest to you, whom you call your friends. So I think not being open and being the real me had significantly limited my chances of ever entering a relationship. Several girls have liked me from school before, but I never felt able to open up and take a quote-unquote risk. Mostly because I didn't feel worthy of being with someone, or that they would even really like me once they got to know me. But I was most likely just all in my head. In my previous video about quitting social media, I talked about how comparison is the thief of joy. I'd also argue that perfectionism is the thief of joy. A big lesson that I've learned throughout my 22 years on earth is that you don't need to be perfect. And those who truly care about you will not tear you down for your flaws. Some may even love you despite your flaws, and some will actually cherish your flaws, which is such a beautiful thing to me. Fear of failure. When I say fear of failure, I actually mean a few things here. For one, I've always been hyper-focused on basketball, so I felt like I didn't have time for relationships. My goal was to play professional basketball, specifically in the NBA. Due to injuries, I wasn't able to pursue my goal, which makes me wonder, should I have pursued a relationship with a girl? Maybe yes, maybe no, but I had no idea that injuries would get the best of me. I don't know why, but as I'm writing this, I'm reminded of these clips on social media which you've probably seen. It's the clips where basketball players are saying they don't have time for prom, and then you see them training during prom, which is only like a few hours or whatever. Like, bro, you got time for prom. Honestly, when I reflect, I wish that I did do more events and things with others because you never get that back. Another reason I feared failure is because most people who get into relationships in high school break up. I've always had in my mind that I want to date to marry, not date to date. I know that not everything works out, and it's perfectly fine to date somebody and break up if it's not working out. But I feel like when I date someone, I'm going to care so much that I don't want to fail. Yes, it could not work out, but obviously anyone would want their relationship to work out, or else what's the point of getting into one? On top of this, I think of how much time I have to put into a relationship. And then what if suddenly it ends one day for no reason? You hear these stories online of people being together for 10 plus years and then breaking up with no explanation. Of course, we don't know these people's lives personally, so it's a bit different, but you get the point. Lastly, I just don't want to fail somebody. I've been a people pleaser, maybe not in the typical ways, but like I said earlier, more of just not showing myself and trying to be quote unquote acceptable. I don't like to let people down, which is why I played my whole basketball career through injuries, even though I probably should have just quit. I didn't want to let my team down, nor the school. It was really hard to keep it together, but for the sake of not letting others down and failing them, I endured. The next reason is that I don't put myself out there enough. In this season in my life, I have no doubt that I'm justified in this past year because it has been so rough. I technically could still put myself out there, but I'd just rather not for now. Although I'm saying this, I've never felt so ready to enter a relationship and be with someone. In the past, I used to never really be that interested in having a girlfriend. While my friends and acquaintances had girlfriends, I genuinely did not care until like the middle of my junior year in high school, which had already became too late, I feel, because I wasn't as close to people as I needed to be in previous years to have something to build on. Sure, I could have approached people or asked or whatever, but I had so much anxiety and personal struggles that I didn't have the courage. Naturally, if you don't put yourself out there, it's going to be 100 times harder for you to find love. If you're waiting for somebody to magically appear into your introverted hermit life like it's a romance anime, it's most likely not going to happen. But if it does, let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear about that. If you don't put yourself out there and convey how you feel, nobody is ever gonna know. If you're dealing with pain or loneliness, if you don't reach out to anybody, how will anything ever change? That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is that if you stay passive, things stay stagnant. But if you become more proactive, change is possible. Actually, it's more than possible. It will happen. So this is what happens when you don't put yourself out there. This next one may sound like more of a weird reason, but embarrassment has always been a big one for me. I've felt embarrassed about the things that I like, which kind of relates to not putting myself all the way out there. I feel embarrassed about the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. My passions and hobbies, my potential dreams. I don't know why this is. Maybe it's because they are pretty much all against the normal route, or maybe it's because they seem super far-fetched. But I'm a firm believer in chasing your dreams and what you're passionate about. Like this channel, for example, is a huge passion of mine as I'm writing the script for this video. Sure, it takes a lot of time and dedication, but I love creating content and helping others out in life. I mean, I honestly feel like I'd be embarrassed if my imaginary girlfriend found out about me recording this very video I'm making right now. Think about that. I've made several YouTube channels on different things and haven't blown up or had viral success. It's not that I'm chasing success alone, and it is more about the journey, but I still feel embarrassed that I have nothing to show after hundreds of YouTube videos. Anyways, this is how embarrassment has always been an obstacle for me pertaining to relationships. Finally, my last reason is hate. And it's not what you're thinking. I don't hate other people. I love other people, but I hate myself. While I do love other people, I think about how can I love somebody else when I hate myself? Is that even possible? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it'd be fair to love somebody else when I hate myself. Is that wrong? I feel like I'm right in thinking this way. I must love myself first before I can love somebody else. Just as I feel I need to love God more before I love others. Because if I can't love God, then how will I love other people? How will I set a good example with my girlfriend when I'm failing in my relationship with God? If I can't spend a few minutes a day with him consistently, then how will I ever have consistent communication with my partner? These are the things that I think about that stop me from entering a relationship. If I hate myself and feel unworthy and unsuitable to be in a relationship, how can it be? I don't know. These are just my thoughts, and maybe I'm rambling, but if at least one person can relate to this video, then it's genuinely all worth it. These are all of the reasons as to why I am 22 years old and have never had a girlfriend. Ranging from not being ready to hating myself, I have really struggled as an individual on this planet called Earth. I don't know when things will be better because ultimately we live in a fallen world. But what I do know is that I've come to learn, accept myself, and fix my priorities in life. I want to prioritize relationships as number one in my life because what else really matters? And then my passions and such as second. If you've dealt with any of these things that I talked about in this video, please let me know. I'm so curious to hear everybody's story and would love some feedback as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope I was able to impact you in a positive way. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.